Hello and welcome to this free class hosted by Fortreal Academy, Nigeria's #1 real estate learning platform. In this particular class, you're going to be learning top 5 legal mistakes to avoid as a realtor. Top 5 legal mistakes to avoid as a realtor. There are at least 20 legal mistakes you should avoid as a realtor. But in this particular video, I am going to be giving you top 5. And trust me, by the time you are done watching this video, you won't believe that this was a free class. You will not believe that this was a free class. My name is Raymond Ijoma, and I am the lawyer that loves real estate. I am the lead lecturer at the Fortreal Academy. And at the Fortreal Academy, what we do is that we educate, we inspire, we empower realtors to get the best knowledge as it relates to selling real estate so that you don't just become good salesmen. So we empower you with the knowledge and the skill to make the best sales, to make sales. While making those sales, we also teach you the legal part of the business so that those properties that you sell become sustainable, become safe, become secure, and importantly, of course, profitable for your clients. So there are two dimensions to our mandate as an educational institution or as a real estate learning platform. We empower you with the knowledge to sell the right way, sell as fast as possible, and importantly, sell consistently. Now that you are selling consistently, it's one thing for you to sell consistently and then get into trouble consistently, right? So our goal is to ensure that while you are a good salesman from or based on the knowledge that you are learning from us, that you are also armed with the legal knowledge of the business. Because with the legal knowledge of the business, you will learn how to play safe, how to avoid trouble, how to ensure that your transactions are safe, secure, profitable, and sustainable. This summary I just gave to you summarizes the entire intent and vision behind the Fortreal Academy, and that's why we're taking our time to do a free video like this, having a free class with you like this, in a way that empowers you, that educates your mind, and to ensure that while you become a good salesman, you also learn to avoid certain mistakes that can just ruin your name or just spoil things for you in the business of real estate. Like I will always say, there's a lot of money in the business of real estate. There's a lot of money in this business. You literally can move from. I'm a living proof of that fact. You can move from here to here, right? From 100 to 1,000 in the real estate sector, in the business of doing real estate, right? But you have to do it from the place of knowledge, right? As much as real estate brings you big money, it also carries alongside big risk, right? So you have to understand how to play safe while you make big money. That's the entire sense of this. That's the entire sense of the. So this is the legal mistakes to avoid. There is the realtor's locus. There is the realtor's locus, which of course I'm going to be giving you a brief. So everything you're going to be learning here are all properly um, taught in the Realtor's locus already taught in the Realtor's locus, right? So, and in a very comprehensive way. So, what we are doing here is just to point out certain mistakes that you should know and avoid. All right. So, a quick introduction. I'm going to be as quick as possible because this video shouldn't be a very long one. So, introduction. Law is the guarantee of safety, security, and sustainability of real estate transactions. Law is the guarantee. So you see, if you're an English student, you understand the use of the word the, Article D. Law is the guarantee of safety, security, and sustainability of real estate transactions. Right. So if you want to do real estate, you must understand that the legal part can never be taken away because law is not like you buying an iPhone. No, rather, real estate is not like you buying an iPhone. If you're buying real estate or somebody who is a realtor, you're a broker, you're a real estate professional, you are into the business of real estate, right? When you're selling to a client, you don't sell it as though you're selling an iPhone. In the same way, as a client, when you're buying real estate, you don't buy real estate as though you are buying an iPhone. In other words, there are certain things that must play out for a real estate transaction to be considered successful, to be considered safe. And if you're having that conversation, then definitely you cannot take away law from it. You definitely cannot take away law. I forgot to add. I like to, because someone asked, what gives you the right to be having this conversation? What gives you the effrontery to teach a class like this? So, just a very brief background from where I'm coming from. Um, I fell in love with real estate. Like I introduced myself a moment ago, I am the lawyer that loves real estate, right? And I've done real estate theoretically, of course, been to the law school, court to bar, and then I've done real estate theoretically. I've done real estate in court, going to court to do cases as related to land matters and all of that. And I've spent years in the field doing real estate, in the field, in the field doing real estate, right? So all of this knowledge, competence, experience, um, everything put together is why or what gives me the right to teach you something like this. And trust me, in your lifetime, you almost never find any other lawyer that is as good as I am in property transactions. So back to where I was saying that law is the guarantee of safety, security, and sustainability of real estate transactions. I'm going to try to be as fast as possible while ensuring that I give you the best within the short time. The next point I have here is law is also a key tool in the toolbox of successful realtors and brokers or real estate professionals. I'm saying here that law is A. So in the first statement, I said law is D. In the second one, I am saying law is A. In other words, for or in the toolbox of successful realtors, right? In the toolbox of successful realtors. So let's say in this box rather, we have this, we have this, we have this, we have this, right? If all of these elements are what make all of these elements are what make the best successful top selling realtors or investors, as the case may be. Let me focus on realtors because I am doing this for realtors, right? If these elements are the elements that make up inside this box, are these elements that make up the best top selling realtors. One thing you cannot take away from, or if you find any successful realtor, know that law is part of what is here inside their toolbox. Understanding basic property law is inside their toolbox. And let me quickly say that those things that you are reading online, I sometimes in my doing research, I try to go through some of these things, and it's just painful what you see online. So if you're a realtor and you want to be sound, stop reading those things you are seeing online because they will confuse you and highly misinform you, right? The only places you should maybe gather certain information on the internet as far as legal or the legal part of real estate is concerned in Nigeria. Some of you are reading stuff, legal things online, but you are reading it from articles or websites belonging to people abroad, right? You're looking into power of attorney in Nigeria, and you're reading a blog written by an Oyibo. I don't understand it, or a white man's website, right? So you have to be able to do your research in context based on your location, right? So be careful when you're doing your research, be careful of researching on foreign websites. Secondly, when you are doing your research, be careful of researching on vlogs. People who just want to do videos for content purposes. People who just want to do write articles for search engine optimization, or just want to gain attention to their website or have people on their website or pages, right? So you have to be careful. If you want to read anything, you want to study, do a research on any property law issue as it relates to real estate, you must ensure that that platform is a say a law firm, a reputable law firm that is putting out information online for you to feed on, right? So apart from that, any other thing you find on the internet that relates to real estate in Nigeria, property law in Nigeria, you have to be very, very careful, right? So back to where I was saying that the legal part or understanding property law is a critical tool inside these toolbox of successful realtors. You will never find any sound successful realtor who doesn't understand basic Nigerian property law. You will never find. I have not seen. You will never find, because every day in them doing transactions, they are having interaction. Especially if you're a realtor who wants to be doing real estate in millions. You cannot do real estate in millions and not interface with lawyers. You cannot do real estate in millions and not interface with the property or their legal representatives of clients. Because at a level, you can never do real estate without involving a lawyer, or a client can never do real estate without involving a lawyer. So you have to understand that the law is a key, the legal part of the business is critical, it's a tool, it's an important tool in the toolbox of successful realtors. It's important in the toolbox of successful realtors. So let's go for that. A realtor that is not legally smart is like a person who wants to become a. So the whole idea of the realtor's law course is to make you legally smart. That is the summary. The whole idea of the realtor's law course, right, which is where we picked out some of these legal mistakes, is to ensure that you as a realtor become legally smart. So a realtor that is not legally smart is like a person who wants to become a star footballer without knowing the rules of football. Imagine that, right? Or somebody who wants to treat people as a medical doctor but doesn't want to study medicine. That kind of thing. Or someone who wants to have a BSc but doesn't want to go to the university. I don't understand how you want to go to the university or have a BSc rather and doesn't want to or don't want to go to the university, right? It's like wanting to eat your cake and have it. And then you agree with me that as a professional, if you're somebody who studied the professional course, you agree with me that there is always a legal part of your course that you are made to know and you are made to learn. It is important. So now that real estate is not regulated or not as it should be regulated, because in foreign, let me go further away from here. So, what are the importance of or benefits of becoming legally smart? Number one, you become an authority. You possess a consultancy status. Some of us will say, "Oh, I'm a real estate consultant. I'm a realtor that is that and all of that." Right? At the end of the day, it is the knowledge and the capacity that you possess that gives you that status. If all you know is buy and sell, then what makes you a consultant? What gives you the right to call yourself a consultant? Right? So you have to understand that law, understanding the legal part of the business first. Let me say, in my opinion, that the Realtors Law course is one of its kind in the entire Nigerian real estate space. So I know for all of my students who have taken the Realtors Law course, I know for a fact they are part of the 1% who can boldly call themselves consultants. Because I know that in foreign settings, you can't become a certified broker without going through the legal part of that business, the legal part of real estate, right? So one of the things that the understanding the legal part of the business or becoming legally smart can do for you is that it makes you become an authority. Your client will listen to you. Your client will not say certain things in error and you will not correct them. The client is asking you what is the deed of assignment or what is the title document that you are calling a survey plan. What's the meaning of that? Right? Or you're not saying it's registered. Come on, be smart. Right? So there are a lot of things I'm going to have to say here that some of you will not agree with me, but you can take me to court. I'm ready to prove it in court. Because that's where most of us make the mistake. The fact that it's popular doesn't make it the legal or the legally right thing to do or the right legal thing to do. And then I need you to understand, even as part of my introduction, that this business is not you're not selling bottled water. Sell bottled water, somebody drinks it, and that's the end. One of the things that makes real estate stand out is that it is generational. In fact, it can be transgenerational. It can be forever. We will most likely die and leave it. Not most likely, we will die and leave it. Except the word, you know, so if it's as for something that outlives us, then we must treat it with a sustainability mindset, not on a short-term basis. In other words, you want to sell something to a client, your priority should not be the commission that you are collecting. Your priority should be the sustainability of that transaction and that investment in such a way that you would in the next 6 months there will not be an issue that will make you spend your commission as well as the entire money or begin to pay back. Right? So you must have that on that you must be legally smart enough to understand that it is a sustainability, a business that has to be sustainable. It's not a short-term business. Even people who buy cars, you rarely can find a car that has say 20 years, no matter how expensive the car is. But for land, even if it's a 500,000 naira land, it can be there for 100 years. So no matter the type of transaction or level of transaction that you're doing, you must understand that real estate is a sustainable one. So for you to stand out, one of the benefits is that you become an authority. You become an authority. You possess a consultancy status. You talk with confidence. There's nothing like talking to your client. One of the things that you understand is, of course, like I said, and then of course there's also the seven-figure masterclass, which is a part or the marketing part of our curriculum or our educational package at the Fortreal Academy, right? And one of the things that we always teach to them, because we teach based on context, perspective, and all of that, right, is the fact that marketing is different from sales. Closing is part of the sales process, right? Or closing is the end or last part of the sales process, right? So when you understand that part, let me just put it very quickly. So I like to say that marketing, right? M leads to inquiry, right? And the moment you cross inquiry, let me bring it here. The moment you cross inquiry, closing starts from that inquiry, or just continue from that point of inquiry to the point the alert drops, right? So you can do good marketing, effective marketing, which now brings in lead generation. Now, when you move away from this part, marketing has ended. Everything you do from here to here is closing, right? And what you need, it is come on. That's why I like to say that naturally ladies are more are better at marketing, because for some it sort of calls attention and people just reach out and all of that. Why for guys, we're naturally, in fact, when the word natural, they're naturally better at closing, because a man is naturally more tactical, right? Not all men anyway, but naturally you're supposed to be more tactical. So it is important that as a lady who wants to do real estate, you must be intentional about growing your closing abilities. While as a man, you have to be intentional about growing your marketing abilities so that there's a balance. Right. But the point I'm trying to drive at here is that you can do good marketing in such a way that in a month you can have 100 people reach out to you and you can only close one or close none. Why? Because you don't understand closing. And one of the benefits, one of the things that helps you in closing is being legally smart. Because when the legal issues arise, you can handle it. Let's move away. And then, of course, standing out. The real estate sector is highly saturated, highly saturated. And one way that can stand, one thing that can stand you out is being legally smart. In other words, you're not just a salesman, or a salesman that is legally smart and understands the business. All right. And then one of the benefits of being legally smart is that you learn how to sell without selling. And I think I don't have time to explain that. And then, of course, it's also a tool for maximizing Kairos moments. Kairos moments are basically moments in closing, again, closing now, right? Where you are able to maximize certain moments that are very rare, right? And those moments can move your client's disinterest to serious interest, can move their interest level from 10% to 90%, and you are done with that transaction, right? So let's run away. So hold on, who is a broker? Global standard definition based on my research. A real estate broker is one person, a person who has obtained a professional license to directly act or, okay, hold on. Real estate broker is a person who has obtained a professional license to directly act as an intermediary in the business of selling. Forgive me, in my mind, I'm trying to rush so that I give you as much as I can. So it's making me speak faster than I'm supposed to. So, real estate broker is a person who has obtained a professional license to directly act as an intermediary in the business of selling, buying, and renting real estate, as the case may be. This is by law Conerado, right? Now, if you look at this definition, whether you call yourself a broker, a realtor, or real estate professional, if you act as an intermediary, then you fulfill, or you can be referred, or you fit into this definition. In other words, if you connect buyer to seller, then we're talking about you, and that is who you are supposed to be. And the import of being licensed is that you're certified, you are trained, you're empowered, you're educated, you are legally smart, and you're professional. These keywords are what qualify you or make you or import or make you stand out as it relates to the definition, the global standard definition of a realtor, right? So as much as Nigeria is not highly, or the Nigerian real estate sector is not highly regulated to that point yet, you have to take responsibility in yourself to stand out, to fit this mark, these standards in such a way that automatically, naturally, you just stand out in the sector and you can easily be recognizable. And trust me, those who play from the consultant part, from the authority part, make more sales ultimately. Yes, it make more sales ultimately. So in stepping away from this part, let me say here that becoming legally smart is not taking the role of a lawyer. It is being smart enough to avoid trouble for yourself and your clients. Knowing about your car engine and how to maintain it doesn't make you a mechanic or doesn't mean you want to become a mechanic. Rather, is to the idea is that you now know how to avoid certain things. Something of 5,000 naira. If you're a car user, you understand that something of 5,000 naira can damage an engine of 800 to 1 million naira. So what you're trying to do is know how to maintain this 5,000 naira something so that you will not spend 1 million to buy a new engine. That's the whole idea. So being legally smart is understanding this basic one so that you know how to avoid the bigger issues. That's the whole idea of being legally smart. It doesn't mean you want to become a lawyer like myself or not. So the first legal mistake, right? I said top five. I'll try to give top five. I hope I'll be able to. The first legal mistake to avoid here is not understanding basic Nigerian property law. Not understanding basic Nigerian property law is the very first mistake that you should never make as a realtor. No, never. Never ever make that as a realtor. Let me read what I have here. Land law or property law is generally designed to regulate the relationship of persons as it relates to land or property transactions, thereby providing a secure. If I go with my normal pace of teaching, 2 hours will not be enough for me to. This is literally the slide that I taught with in Enugu when I was invited for the um, Southeast conference, Realtors conference. This was the slide I used to teach their masterclass. It was a 2 hours, about 3 hour session plus question and answer, right? So imagine me trying to do this in 30 minutes. So if I have to take my time to teach this the way I naturally would love to, it will take a lot of time. But let me quickly pick out very important things. So again, land law or property law is generally designed to regulate the relationship of persons as it relates to land or property transactions, thereby providing a secure foundation for the acquisition, use, occupation, or disposal of interest in the lands. It describes and regulates the rights, interests, and estates on land. It has clearly shown here by way of this definition that law is literally the foundation of every real estate transaction. This is a legal definition. This is not even uh, this is not normal English. This is a legal definition. Now, transfer of titles is the next thing we have to look at. I haven't looked at that part of that conversation. Now, law ensures that after money exchanges hand between the buyer and the seller as relates to property purchase, that ownership, title, interest is transferred. I like to always say that there are two parts of every real estate transaction. There is the, especially when we're looking at purchase, right? There is the transactional end as well as the conveyancing end. The transactional end as well as the conveyancing end. For the transactional end, what happens here is literally just the negotiations, marketing, those basic things, right, that anybody can do, right? Anybody as an adult can do, right? Negotiations, and then usually ends with transfer of money. The moment money is transferred or money exchanges hands, the transactional end of that transaction should actually come to an end. And then it should not end there. That is one mistake. In fact, there are several mistakes in between every part of this conversation that I'm giving right now, or this conversation we're having right now, or this class we're taking right now. There are several mistakes in between. So you can just pick them and just use them to your advantage. Now, the real estate transaction should not end there, should not end at transferring money. Rather, it should continue and now move to the point of conveyancing, right? Which is where the conveyancing law now comes into play. And at this point, what usually would happen is that three things are supposed to move away. At some point, at some levels, they are just synonyms, right? But I like to always use those three words: title, interest, and ownership. So let's call it TO. Title, interest, and ownership. Now that money has exchanged hand, these three things should now flow. Buyer, seller. Buyer gives seller money. Money went. This is money. Buyer sent money to seller. Something should also flow back. That is where the exchange happens. If it doesn't flow back, then an exchange has not happened, and a transaction, as far as law is concerned, has not happened. So usually what should go back is the TO, title, interest, and ownership. This should not go back. Then there's a balance. Until this happens, there's an issue. Right? So let's run away. So I wrote here as a way of emphasizing this point that unlike buying a pen, paying money doesn't make the land yours automatically. The right document must exchange hands, and emphasis on the word right document. Again, like I said, you can have documents but not have the right document. So on my slide, emphasis was clearly on right document. And then the right document can also be a matter of context, right? And I like to always say that in real estate transaction, there's almost no two real estate transactions that are the same, right? So you have to understand that. All right. So that is where conveyancing comes into play, which is the practice of creating interest and transferring rights in land. Right. So the very first legal mistake you should learn to avoid, or the major mistake, because like I said, there are a number of mistakes that I've mentioned in between that you should avoid, right? Is the fact that, but the general umbrella one, number one, is the fact that you should not, or the mistake would be you not understanding basic Nigerian property laws. So the second one is not understanding the difference between kinds of title and kinds of title and types of title documents. Kinds of title and types of title document. To some of you, this will sound strange and may possibly look like I made a mistake. No, I didn't make any mistake. I know what I'm talking about. Just like I know my name is Raymond Ijoma. So the very first question under this one is that we should ask ourselves, what is title? The second question will now be, what is a title document? That is the second question. What is a title and what is a title document? You have to understand that in this business, everything, what you know will definitely separate you from others. Now, the question of what is a title, or what is the title on the land, there's a difference between when it is what is a title document, or what is the title document. As a realtor, you get to hear that every day. What is the title document? There's another part of the question, which is what is the title on the land. Sometimes, most times, they can be different. At very few occasions, they're talking about the same thing, or the answer to both questions will be the same, but always they are different, right? Now let me go further and explain it. The question of what is a title is a matter of status of ownership. Status. So here the key word in answering the question is status. Why the question of what is a title document is that proof of ownership. So, what is a title is a question of status of ownership. What is a title document is a question of what is a title is a question of status of ownership. What is a title document is a question of proof of ownership. Let me exemplify it. You are a chief in your community, or let's assume that you are a chief in your community. The question is, how do we know? Is that your status? Yes, you're a chief. That's your status as a chief. Now, the question is, how do we know that you are a chief? Very simple things. That is not the question of proof of your status. So at that point, we can say, okay, your red cap, right? Of course, that's in the east. Your red cap, your the customary right, the traditional right as it relates to the celebration of um, your chieftaincy title, right? Your name, what is your that name that is given to you? Buruburu one, those kind of names, right? So the number of things that you can use to prove ownership. Or another point could be, or another example could be, uh, who are you? I'm a man, right? What is the so that's my status? What is the proof that I'm a man? I guess you have the answer to that question already. So generally, we have to understand that the issue of what is a title is a matter of, or what is the title is a matter of status of ownership. Why the question of what is a title document is the proof, because the document is the proof of that status, right? So to further give you perspective, I can't. If I stay on this point, I will not be able to do up to five. I will not be able to do up to five. But just for your own knowledge purposes, under what is title, we have customary, we have equitable, and we have legal. Now, each of these now have where proof now come into play, right? Under customary, based on the three basic kinds, right, as it relates to title, right, and status. At this point, you have the customary proof and all of that. Inheritance, those things fall under customary proof. Under equitable, basically, you are talking about titles or where there's a document but it's not registered, where there's a document but it's not registered. That is a summary. Like I said, I can't begin to explain them in details one after the other with examples. Time will not permit me to do that. That is already done or taken care of in the Realtors locus, right? So you may want to consider getting it, right? Why under the legal, we have anything that is legally recognized by the Land Use Act and provided for, legally recognized and provided for by the Land Use Act of 1978, which is our property main or general property act that governs property transactions in Nigeria as one jurisdiction. Now, under this legal, you have C of O, allocated, applied C of O, allocated C of O. You also have R of O, right? You have registered deeds, registered titles, and you also have gazettes and a number of other things. All of these fall under governor's consent, of course. All of these fall under legal title, right? So, in terms of what is a title document, these ones now prove or show proof the fact that the title is a legal one. Under equitable, the deed, all those things will show, but they are not registered, but they are proof of equitable title. While under customary, largely customary customs, traditions, and all of that have a way of also proving, even though there's no document for sometimes there are documents like approvals, about approval for places like Benin. The eastern part have their own documents. Sometimes community approval, community paper, different names that they call it. But at those times, at those levels, they are also considered as proof of customary title, customary ownership. Permit me to jump away from there and then now create a bit of emphasis and I'll create a bit of emphasis here, then maybe I'll just keep some things and jump to three, and maybe we'll end it at top three instead of top five. So the next question I'm going to have to take my time to answer here is, what is a title document? A lot of you ask this question, so I'll just quickly address this. What is a title document? And you will have to pay critical attention here. You have to pay critical attention here. Again, you have to pay critical attention here to every word I'm going to use. This definition is not based on, okay, it's based on theory and it's based on experience. I have to put all of these words together to create this definition, and I can boldly rely on this definition for a long time. Now, a title document is any document. Number one, it is a document. Number two, it is recognizable. Number three, it is acceptable. I'm going to read it properly, but just take the point. Number four, it is registrable. Number five, it is in a property jurisdiction. Property jurisdiction. Number six, as a means of transferring interest. Remember, means of transferring title, interest, and ownership. Means of transferring TO. And number seven, it is sold, and then there is a buyer and there is a seller. 7-point agenda of what makes up a title document. So let me now read it. A title document is any document recognizable, acceptable, registrable in a property jurisdiction as a means of transferring title, interest, and ownership by somebody who sold the property, in other words, the buyer and the seller. From someone who sold real estate to the buyer, from someone who sold real estate to the buyer. Now, these elements are critical at any point in you answering the question of what is a title document. And this will also tell you, help you understand. If you understand this, then you understand what is not a title document. So that some of those nonsense that, okay, forgive me, some of those documents that some of you call as title document, you will now know by yourself that they don't fit into the elements that make up a title document. Now, let's look at it. It is a document, recognizable, as if these three words, three of them go together. Right? And then quickly, before I come and I jump both of them together, you need to understand that Nigeria is first at the Land Use Act level. Nigeria is one jurisdiction, but beyond that level, Nigeria is not one jurisdiction as it relates to property transaction, because every state has rights to do certain laws or create certain laws. By even the local government still have certain laws that they can bring in, which are bylaws. But the state level, they have different laws that apply, that they can bring in to create a bit of a tweak in their land administration, right? And for those of you who are in Abuja, for those of you who are in Abuja, so yes, let's just quickly divide it. So we have the FCT, and then we have the states. So as it is, we have 35 land jurisdictions in Nigeria, plus, no, 35 states, which is 35 land jurisdictions plus the FCT, which is one. So we have 36 states and capital. So that's plus one. So that's 37 land administrative units in Nigeria. That is 37 jurisdictions, property jurisdictions as it relates to land in Nigeria. And one thing I need to state very quickly here is that land administration in Abuja is very unique, extremely unique. As a realtor, let me beg you, or let me advise you for free. Don't assume that because you are good with real estate in Lagos, automatically means that you enter Abuja and you think you know everything about real estate. There are a lot of things that are different and unique in Abuja land administration. CFO is not CFO. CFO in Abuja, there are some CFO in Abuja that are not CFO that you should be proud of. There are different tweaks to real estate in Abuja, right? So you need to understand it. You need to know Abuja real estate for you to know what's up, for you to boldly go into certain transactions. If not, you will guide your clients to go and buy a land. Uh, I can't go there. I definitely can't attend to that issue right now. But just understand that each of these jurisdictions have what applies in terms of property administration and all of that. That's why I said emphasis on the word what applies in your property jurisdiction. So if it is recognizable, if it's acceptable, it is registrable as a means of transferring title, interest, ownership in your jurisdiction, then it serves as a title document. The question I'm going to have to now ask is a survey plan a title document recognizable, acceptable in any jurisdiction? I don't think the answer is yes. Whether it's registered or not. In fact, the survey plan is actually not a survey plan until it's registered. So the fact that somebody is saying it's registered survey plan as a title document doesn't make it a title document. And at a general level, power of attorney is also not a title document. It is only an exception. And there are circumstances where that can apply. There are circumstances by virtue. I think I'm already jumping myself. Let me go to the third point and see if I can address. Okay, what I have here as the third point is not understanding the power C's of successful real estate transaction. Let me skip to which one will be most important to you. Which will be most important to you. So I will advise you or encourage you rather to get the Realtors law course, or if you can, as well as the seven-figure masterclass. You can reach out to. There'll be a number on the screen to reach out to for any of these courses if you are interested. Time is already fast spent. I intended spending 30 minutes to do this, and from what I'm being told, I have exceeded that already. So let me pick one of these points and then we'll end it here. So I have number 3, not understanding the power C's of successful real estate transactions. And so the issue of a power of attorney is a sensitive one, is a long one, and I cannot deal with it here. So I'll just do the power C's. But just understand that there are certain things that are popular, documents that are popular that are not title documents. Some of them, they are 100% not title documents. Some others are not title documents on a general level, but they are title documents based on exception. And when they are on exception, you must understand the context and conditions that make or bring them or qualify them to enter those exceptions. If not, if you use them on the other side, then you are going to be wrong. And that will be a major mistake. So you need to understand those circumstances when those popular documents that you know and you are calling title documents are 100% no. They are not title documents. And there are other occasions when, at a general level, they are not title documents, but on based on exception, they can be referred or used as title documents. And again, you must understand those conditions that make up those exceptions for them to qualify as exceptions before you can use them. I hope that is clear enough. So let me deal with the two C's. I call them the two powerful C's. And yes, generally, you have to understand that there are 4 sets of people that you sell real estate for. Number 1, companies, families, communities, individuals. And if you add Abuja, you can now add government. So that's 5. Companies, families, communities, individuals, and the government. Right. So these are entities that you ordinarily would sell real estate for every day, right? Or every other day. All right. Now, the first C is competence. The first C is competence. And competence simply means, by my definition, all of these are based on my thoughts and theology. By competence, I mean ability without authority, possessing ability without authority, right? And in other words, by way of my explanation, I'm simply saying here that the guy is an adult. The guy can sell this property if he wants to sell it. He's a good realtor. He's a top selling realtor, right? He's a member of the family. He can sell the property. But the question is, does he have authority to sell it? The answer is no. That is competence. Competence. I will explain. I'll give you an example. I'm sure you most likely don't understand what I just said. Competence is ability without authority. If he wants to sell the property, can he sell it? The answer is yes. But does he have authority to sell it that makes it legal for him to sell it? So that title will move legally from him? No. So the bone or the backbone of the issue of competence is nemo dat could not habit. In other words, that's a Latin maxim. And it simply means you cannot give what you don't have. The fact that you can sell it doesn't mean you have it and possess authority or right to sell it, or possess capacity to sell it. Right? So, for example, yourself and your spouse own a property, right? Yourself and your spouse bought a property, and for whatever reason, somebody amongst the two wants to hide and sell the property behind the other person without the other person knowing. The question is, can he sell it? Does he possess the requisite abilities to put it in the market and sell? The answer is yes. But does he have authority to sell it alone? No. Does he have authority to sell it alone? No. Second example, twin brothers. We look alike where you can't even differentiate our look, right? And the brother is, say, abroad, for example, and the person in Nigeria possesses the property or title documents, original title documents for that matter, right? The question is, as twin brother, can he sell for his brother? Yes. But does he have authority to sell without his brother's authority, or without his brother giving him that authority? No, that is competence. That's the issue of competence, right? And then a last example, principal member of a family. A principal member of a family, so I'm trying to hold right now. A principal member of a family cannot sell a family land. It is voidable for him to sell a family land. Right, so you have to be careful all along. And for you to, yes, I may not be able to do the explanation. So youth chairman selling community land, all of these are issues of competence, right? What I was trying to say here now is, for a transaction in real estate to be considered as successful, there must be competence to sell. The second one is there must be capacity to sell. Two of them must be there: competence and capacity. Now, what is capacity? Capacity is authority without ability. Capacity is authority without ability. Remember, competence is ability without authority, while capacity is authority without ability. In other words, the guy is the owner of the land. I have clients who buy properties in the name of their children. As a 10-year-old boy, does he have authority? Is he the owner of the land? Yes. But can he sell it as a minor? No. That is possessing authority over the land, but not having capacity to sell it or ability to sell it. Another example, a family land that is inalienable. There are certain lands that cannot be sold by way of custom. It cannot be sold. Now, does the family own the land? Yes, they own it, not their own. But can they sell it? No. Can principal members sell it? No. Can head of the family sell it? No. There is capacity, but no authority. Or there's ability, there's authority, but no ability to sell. Right? Mortgage land. When you mortgage a land, depending on the type of mortgage that you do, you can't sell it. It's yours, but you can't sell it. Like, right? Lease pendants or lease pendants, depending on whatever, some persons call it different names. Just like some persons say it's power of Anthony. It's not power of Antonio, it's power of attorney. Right? Attorney. All right. So yes, two people are in court dragging a particular land, and the land, for whatever reason, belongs to me or belongs to Mr. A, and Mr. B is dragging it. But while that matter is in court, is it for Mr. A? Yes, but they are temporarily, court is temporarily looking at who is the owner, right? But at this point, at the end of the day, somebody is going to win, right? So whether we like it or not, somebody is the owner. But can that person sell during the course of that litigation? No. Does the person own it? Yes. But during the course of that litigation, you can't sell, right? So that is possessing authority over the land, but you can't sell because of certain circumstances. So whenever as a realtor, you want to sell any property, you must understand that there is the role of capacity and there's the role of competence. And it will be a serious mistake for you to sell anybody's property without understanding the place of competence, without understanding the place of capacity and applying them properly or accordingly in a way that will ensure that that real estate transaction is successful and it is sustainable as well. I apologize. I thought I'll be able to um, deal with all of these issues. Like I said, there are about 20 legal mistakes to avoid as a realtor. And then I actually wanted to do top 5 in this particular video, which is a free video, of course. But I'm not able to, and I apologize for that. And yes, like I said in the beginning, even though this was a free class, I plan to give 5. Even though I was able to only give 3, I know for a fact that this is the first time I'm doing this video for free. Every time I've done anything like this was a paid class, a paid session, a paid training. So this is literally like a giveaway of a lot of value, right? So you can make do with this depending on your interest and your vision and your plan for the real estate sector as an individual, as a brand or a corporate entity, right? And if you wish to go more or go further or go deeper, then of course I encourage you to go for the Realtors Law course. The Realtors Law course is one of the courses that we have at the Fortreal Academy. We also have the 7-figure masterclass, and the 7-figure masterclass is one course, a masterclass that everything about it is designed from the place of earning 7-figure monthly consistently. 7-figure, I mean at least ₦1,000,000 monthly as commission consistently. Some of you don't believe it, but that's that. Let me say they play something like that, right? So you can either enroll for the 7-figure masterclass or you enroll for. Or there's a package where if you enroll for the Realtors Law course alone, you get it at a price. You can also enroll for the 7-figure masterclass alone separately, and of course, you also get that in price. But if you get the both of them together, the 7-figure masterclass as well as the Realtors Law course together, you are getting it at a lesser price, a cheaper price, or a more affordable price, or a lesser price, right? So it's better off for you to get both of them together, right? And the Realtors Law course, you can get all of those information somewhere around this video or the numbers that are available to you through this video description session or as the case may be. So yeah, my name is Raymond Ijoma and I am the lawyer that loves real estate. And I believe you may have figured that out from the passion, the way I teach. And I guess the way I know this thing, because if you don't have it, you can't give it. Um, Hope to see you some other time. And I hope you also apply the best of the knowledge that you have gotten here. Wish you success in the real estate sector and look forward to hearing from you as it relates to testimonies, feedback, review, how this has impacted you. Ladies and gentlemen, bye bye.